Hi everybody, and welcome to another speed paint video. So in this video I am drawing Anakin Skywalker from the Star Wars series The Clone Wars on Disney Channel. And so because I've never drawn Anakin in this style before, I actually don't draw Star Wars in general, I decided to do the first step that you guys seen me do sometimes or a few times at this point, and it's kind of tracing the original artwork or the references that I chose or I found online. When you trace in this way, it is not a bad thing. Tracing in this way actually helps you learn the facial features and overall kind of like a little sense of the style of the character and the artwork that you're taking inspiration from. And because this is a character that I never draw and of a style that I've never really tried before, I needed to do this extra step at the very beginning of the video. And I am so happy that I did, because I got a sense of his facial features, and especially the strong ones, or the strong parts of his face, which are what I noticed: his eyebrows, his nose, and his chin and jawline, which is basically the entire face generally. But once I got a sense of his facial features, you can see that in the sketch, I focused on that just naturally. I didn't struggle, I didn't have a hard time when I was drawing his face. I focused first his chin, the face of the facial structure, then the nose, and then I add those thick shaped eyebrows that he has, because I don't know who does his eyebrows, but they're way too clean for someone who's at war. But that's a different story. So at this point, I'm now sketching the base sketch, which is just focuses on the body structure and the overall composition of the character and what they're doing. The next stage that I'm doing right now is adding the detail. So using a different color just to add a little bit of contrast in my mental breakdown, but that sounds really negative, but more of like my mental mapping. There you go, that's the right words. I create another layer and decide to add more details. Now this is not the final line art. This is still considered a sketch because it's still messy, it's still rough around the edges, and that is completely fine in this stage, because this stage focuses on the clothing and the details beyond the body. Because I've never drawn Star Wars before, their style, their aesthetic is pretty new to me. I didn't want to make a mistake with the details, because this is Star Wars. Like, if you make a mistake, then you've really messed up, you know? So I tried to be as detailed as possible, and I'm pretty happy with the medium or the turnout of this picture. So afterwards, I removed the base sketch and I started working on the line art. Now this specific line art, I specifically wanted it to kind of look more rough and more pencil-like. So I gave the tool that I'm using in this case, which is the airbrush tool, a more rough texture to it. And I think I also made it not as distinct in shape as well. I made it more like phasing out. I don't know exactly how to call it. Yes, I'll just go with that one. Something that isn't really clean in lines. More pencil related. Oh my gosh, I need to stop talking about this. Hey, what else? Oh, well, still line art. But yeah, I'm really excited with this face though, because of the choice in tools, or the changes that I did with my tool. His facial features are just much more expressive. He looks a little bit more aged, definitely he does, but when it comes to aggressiveness, anger, and frustration, and kind of the face he's expressing in this picture, I needed to express those wrinkles and I needed to add those in, and I'm really happy that they're there. From observing this entire process and kind of seeing the final outcome, which you will all see at the very end of the video, I am also kind of happy that I kind of blended these two different styles of my style and the show style together. It's a happy medium, and I'm really, yeah, I feel like I totally leveled up in this process. Look at that face! And so the next stage is the most difficult stage, which is the lighting. The lightsaber itself is a lightsaber. It produces light, so you have to focus your shading in a way that relates back to the lighting. Am I professional at shading? Probably not. Obviously not. But I did my best. I kind of put a lot of the heavy shaded areas, the darker areas, away from the lightsaber and kept a lot of the light focused mainly on the bottom of his chin and the bottom of his ear. Once that was settled, then I focused on the hair. Once I filled everything in, same process. I made sure that the light source was hitting the bottom of his hair instead of the top of his hair, because you can definitely tell when someone, I wouldn't say is uneducated, but someone who still has yet to learn the concept of lighting and the concept of how light works in general, is when they have different light sources in different locations and it just doesn't cohesively work together. Lighting is a huge part of an illustration, of a character design, of anything you create. So always, when you draw something, when you illustrate something, when you design something, find a light source and go with it. Always remember too that if you have multiple light sources, some light sources are stronger than others. What is the primary? What is the secondary? What is the tertiary or thirdary? But you get what I mean. Because light makes a huge impact. And you'll get to see that at the, like I said, at the very end of the video. But that's a little tip, little, artistic tip for y'all for this video. And so now I'm like blending the colors, and as you can tell, the area where his lightsaber will be, I barely shaded on his armor, like only in one area, and that was it. Now, in order to get the shape of the lightsaber, I used a pen tool on paint tool side. That's not side, and kind of used the straight line part of the pen tool and just created a thick white line. After that, I created a layer under the pen tool layer and used a dark blue, changing the layer's type or mode to illuminate, to have like this really cool like illuminating light behind the lightsaber. Fun tool, fun thing to do. But yeah, that's another tip. In the end, this is the end product, and yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to see more. So bye.